So why do you feel like why even the most confident people are insecure? Like, what's the reason? I mean, why do people think about it certain way?
I don't know, bro. Maybe like confidence is a lot of positive self-talk. And
Our today's guest is more like a friend who came here to dominate the entire content creation journey. He started his journey with YouTube, then now he started his entrepreneurial venture, and now, after 5 or 7 years of his entire journey, he's doing more than 3 businesses and has also started investing into multiple talents who are upcoming and multiple businesses and startups who are upcoming as well. This guy is a mentor, is a content creator, is an entrepreneur and plays so many other roles as well. He's Ranveer Allahbadia, aka Beer-Biceps. Well, in today's episode, we've talked about how anyone who's watching this video can start his content creation journey, can start a spiritual journey, how much money did he invest in his studio, how can anyone become an entrepreneur, how to manage multiple things at the same time, and how much money did he make in the entire journey and what are his next plans now. And apart from all of that, we've also talked about his personal life. What does he plan to do in the future in terms of his personal life and professional life? Watch this episode till the end because this episode is divided into 2 different parts and you cannot miss any of the parts because this is complete revelation of his entire journey from ground up. Make sure you watch this episode till the end. Also, this podcast is brought to you by CoinSwitch Kuber. CoinSwitch Kuber is India's simplest digital exchange and trading platform for cryptocurrencies where you can start trading from only rupees 100. A simple, fast, safe and secure platform which allows you to start your crypto journey in the most user-friendly way. So with Sanjay, what we did? No, like it's random only. So I was like, Sanjot के साथ तो पीछे उसका kitchen we are setting up, and we started rolling. Like then the people are walking, वो कपड़े से पहुंच रहा है, संजोत बीच में आंसर देते थे बोल रहा है, यार वो वाले को ऐसे निकाल. And that all we put up. That's in a podcast. Like that's how we start the podcast.
bro, as a creator, you just get very used to equipment around you, so it's fine. It's like whether it's there or not, it's the same.
And I'm the very वैसे भी because I don't come from this filmmaking background, so I'm like conversation करना है ना start कर देते हैं like fuck it, and my videographers, my team, they get finicky about it. They're like, यार क्या है ऐसे नहीं बैठना वैसे नहीं बैठना. And they, dude, they call me when like they start calling my bullshit when I wear certain kind of clothes. Let's say color. मतलब they won't let me sit on a black couch with black t-shirt. I'm like, ये क्या है? Like, like in the morning I have to think कि मैं आज black couch पे बैठूंगा कि red couch पे बैठूंगा. Like, how the fuck can you decide that, right?
No, but I get that, bro. You get the deeper you get into this game, the more finicky you get. So it's fine.
Are you finicky?
The thing is, my team, now we've divided team roles really well. So we kind of impart a level of finickiness to each guy. You can be in charge of this, you can be in charge of this.
Oh, it's a department. Like,
yeah, departments.
That's like a very smart businessman kind of thing. Yeah. So I'll tell you, I was starting with this anecdote, right? Ki first time when we I think we started talking on WhatsApp, right? And the first time you called me up, you're like, dude, you know what? I don't reply people on WhatsApp very often. So आगे चल के भी ऐसा होता रहेगा. So just don't mind. Like just call me whenever you need me, and like just don't mind this.
That's my way of making friends in the modern day. You know how in school you go friends. So my way of doing that is I call up people and say, bro, see, even if I know you for a very long time, this is who I am. And it's a very real aspect.
But it was day one of me WhatsApping you like, dude, like you called me for what? Football. Right? Remember, like told you Holi ka kya plan hai, and I texted him football. Ki text me the address. Immediately, you don't reply me the address. You call me up and like, see, मैं WhatsApp पे reply नहीं करूँगा. And this is how. I was like, क्या हो गया भाई? हम इतने close friends हैं. क्या हो रहा है?
No, dude. I mean, like, so there are very few people I choose to be friends with, and I really enjoy. And that sounds arrogant as shit, but the thing is, as a creator, when there's so much writing pressure. For me, at least the kind of creation I do where it's films, I'm always trying to do new things. I write poetry, write stories. So I limit my social circle really small, but I really enjoy getting to know creators. Anyone who's willing to put themselves out there so much, because I feel like this career exposes who you are a lot on the inside. So it requires certain amount of bravery and execution, which I respect. So I wish to kind of surround myself with people like that at this stage of my life.
Makes sense. In fact, because we have been like, close all this time. Like in Bombay, I think you are one of those close people. Close friends, yes, Ranveer.
Close friends, close friends.
So, one of those close friends who have helped me all of this. So there was one thing last time we went to Soho. You said one thing, okay, and that has been stuck with me in my head, and I've been thinking about it a lot.
Was it about how sexy I thought you were looking that night?
It was you said, dude, people are insecure.
Yeah.
You said like everybody's insecure. And that was a very bold statement to say that everybody's insecure about themselves. No matter how hot a girl looks or how confident a guy looks, they all are insecure about themselves. Like, and I've been thinking about it. I have my own theory about it, okay? But why did you say that?
Firstly, because of podcasting, you go into people's heads and you get to see everything. Like, and you'll see this after like 100, 200 episodes of yourself. You'll say, yeah, bro, now I get exactly what you were saying. Everyone feels insecure about something. Especially when they're going out, it's often insecurity related to looks or dressing or status.
Yeah.
In terms of what am I wearing? Am I wearing a expensive enough brand? Am I looking a certain way? And I feel the most confident people in rooms are the ones who actually act the best. Always. Confidence is like a
Pretending.
very put together thing, but somewhere putting shit together becomes a real thing eventually when you do it enough.
And why do you feel like, why do people even, because when you said this, right, I was thinking about the most confident people. And then I started feeling that ye bhi insecure hai. So why do you feel like, why even the most confident people are insecure? Like, what's the reason? I mean, why do people think about it certain way?
I don't know, bro. Maybe like confidence is a lot of positive self-talk, and there's only a need for positive self-talk when initially there's some negative self-talk. Very rarely I've seen like inborn confidence in people. Like even when I wasn't like a confident person in school, I had to like build it up over time. And even the confident kids, now that I've gotten to know them in life as adults, I've realized they were doing the same thing. They just learned people skills early on in life.
Oh,
yeah.
I feel it's, so this is my own theory, okay? Maybe I'm wrong.
Let me just add one thing to that statement. I feel old age changes things.
Okay.
Like after you cross 50, 60, then that's actual confidence. Because you're beyond the looks game and the status game. You're a little more self-actualized.
I feel more or less it's more about how we have been brought up. Okay. So when as a kid, you're always being compared with other people. You're like, oh, this guy comes first, so you need to come first. Become like that person. They say, oh, this one person looks really pretty. Try to do something which they are doing. You know, like how people are getting compared with people. Or this one's playing sports, you need to do that. So you're always being compared. So because of that, you start feeling that I am somewhere inferior. Like I don't have the brains for maths abilities. I don't have the brains for, let's say, I don't have the fitness level of a sports person. So you start comparing, you start feeling like inferior. And instead of training yourself, there are like so many things you're getting compared with, you start letting go of that. And then somehow, because if you were as a kid, you were not compared because of certain skills which are like certain values. If we all have been compared because of values, then self-confidence upar hota. Like, to give you an example, when we are kids, right, our parents don't tell us ki, oh, you should be like this person because he's very honest. You should be like this person because he's like he always respects certain people, or he's empathetic, or he's kind, or he's grateful. You're never said, like nobody tells you this. And because you never respect those values, which are beyond a looks or how the society perceives you, you start comparing yourself based on looks and how your character is in front, like how your image is in front of people. So as you grow up, you start doing that with everyone. So when you go out, let's say you go out in a party, you're like, oh, this person's looking better than me, and all of a sudden your confidence goes low. Then there's maybe some girl who you want to talk to, and she talks to someone else. You feel like, oh, you know, like you again go, I'm not that funny. I'm not that this. I'm not this. And you start comparing it, because if all of this, I feel people get even. So it's just a game of comparison why people feel underconfident. Because when you're in your team or with your friends, you're the most confident person out there. Like with your friends, you're not underconfident. Can you think of it?
Yeah, bro, I've never looked at it that way. So I think a lot about like Americans, man. Like they're very good at conversation.
Yeah.
And there is this inborn confidence in them. And probably the difference I've seen in our society versus their society is that there's little less competition and more individualism there. So maybe you're right. Maybe what you're saying is very accurate from an Indian perspective. But abroad, it's much more about you go kill it. Your SAT score. your performance in the sport. Nike is a great representation of that thought.
Individualism.
Yeah, ki you'll do it. Just do it. So I don't know. That's just how I look at it, bro. And I remember in childhood there was a switch for me, like from being underconfident becoming confident. And it was when I took up my sport, which was judo in school, which is another very individualistic sport. So, and I remember that difference happening in my head, that I got that self-confidence. So maybe that comparison mentality is definitely a part of Indian society and our relatives and our parents telling us certain things. But I think it can break also.
Of course.
In childhood. Like the earlier it breaks, the better.
Of course. Yeah, that's how we all make or build our skills or certain things. Like we break ourselves, we unlearn everything and then we learn.
Yeah,
so do you think you're confident now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're damn
like
confident.
legit, yeah.
What are like one or two things which made you really confident? Which you think, tell me something which is like actionable or somewhere I would say copyable, imitable by other people.
Dude, like physical activity, firstly, like judo, there's just something that physical activity does to how you look at yourself. And now in adulthood, it's the gym. We play football together. So every time we've played football, whether you win or lose, your body feels different, your mind feels different. So that's one actionable for sure. And second, dude, I honestly feel the process of self-awareness makes you confident. For example, like you kind of know what you want from life. You also kind of know where you stand. The more self-aware you get, you can either meditate or you can journal. You know, just keep writing down what's in your head.
Yeah.
So when you enter a room where people are prone to losing their confidence, you're actually that person who knows yourself so much that you're like, theek hai, is melee mein I don't want to take part. I'll do my own thing, you know. And I don't know, that's just what works for me, bro. But in saying that, I'm 28 now and it's been 6 years of YouTubing and fame. And I feel like my shit worked well early on.
Yeah.
Like I got early fame in life. And maybe my reality is different than like the average person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'd say a similar thing. Like fame definitely changes the way you look at life. So maybe fame is a part of my confidence. And this is something I've discussed with my childhood friends in terms of how do y'all look at fame from the outside. And they said that your life looks like a dream life. It's not. Like there are like, you know, there are moments of like self-doubt. There's moments of, what's it called? Like darkness. You know, you have bad moments also, which they don't understand. They look at it from the outside. They see your Instagram and they think that, oh, it's crazy.
Kill kar raha hai life, like them rocking life, and they don't know like your. I saw that, you know, there was this one story. You were like, oh, this is the dark side of everything, and I'm lonely. I don't have anyone to call me at Saturday nights. Like this is no party, and it gets there because
yeah, bro. And that was real. Like I made it as a joke, but I didn't have anyone to go out with on a Saturday because all my friend circles, people like you who get fucking busy on like Saturday nights and shit because y'all have your content to record. Or y'all are all hustlers, dude. Everyone's got like something to do. So that's the outcome of choosing a very self-improvement oriented circle.
Yeah,
but
it works out. You know, self-improvement. Say what you said like about the confidence wala part. I heard like this like a good thing which came out of mine. The friend circle, it helps you a lot.
Yeah.
If you're around like really confident people, it just helps you.
100%.
Like it just helps you. There's no other. And the second was I heard somebody saying online somewhere. I think I read it or heard it. I don't know, but someone else said it. Like physical activity wale point se. Like if you can look yourself naked in front of a mirror, and you're happy about it, you're the most confident person in the room. Like everybody when they look themselves in the mirror, they have certain flaws. They feel like, oh, maybe ye zyada hai, ye kam hai, ye aisa hai, ye waisa hai. Like people, we keep talking about it and thinking about it. When you're like just you in front of the mirror naked. And if you feel confident there, I think, so it has to do a lot with physical activity. It has to do
I think I'm hot naked, bro. No. Kidding, I'm kidding. But yeah, I see the point there, dude. You know, when I used to gym and I was like I still gym, but I was just very deep into it. The motivation was definitely insecurity, as it was for a lot of the gym bros, you know, who were into it. Somewhere their motivation is insecurity. They feel like biceps aren't as big enough as the other guy in their gym. The biggest guy in the gym will compare himself to like the bodybuilding champ of the world.
But that's a strength, right? Like I feel everybody say that insecurity or inferiority is
a driving factor.
It's a bad thing to have, but it's a driving factor. It's good. Like I feel I owe whatever I've achieved, like little things in my life, it's all because of I've always felt that I'm inferior to some person who I look up to, or someone in my group, or my cousins, or my friends, or someone who went to like a better college than me. So I just looked up to them and be like, I'm inferior to them, and I need to fucking kill it in life.
Yeah.
And that's like a good driving fact. So talking about gym, you have a gym in your office.
Yeah.
Like that's a studio office. What it is it?
It's a studio office with a gym inside.
So so this is for every content creator, okay? I asked my inner circle, like a small Discord group, and I asked them, what do you want me to ask Ranveer? There were 3-4 people who said, how much does that studio cost? Like, how much did you take to build that? What was the number?
It takes some money, dude, because in this content creation game, especially if you're very video centric, I feel you scale using equipment up till a point. And then beyond a point, you don't want to invest more in equipment. You want to invest in infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like good backgrounds. You keep repainting backgrounds.
Yeah.
You do it up well. Plus, on a very personal level, I don't spend on luxury cars or luxury clothes or luxury anything other than luxury home decor.
Okay.
And luxury home decor doesn't mean like branded home decor. Just I really like living, working out of, and staying in good looking
Quality.
places because it does something to your mind. Like you feel like, yeah, okay, you know, this is a pleasure to look at. It's like going to a really good looking restaurant, but
Yeah.
you wake up in the restaurant.
So most of your videos are there only.
Yeah, almost all the videos are
All the videos.
Yeah.
And how much did it cost? Somewhere, like, can you give a range?
30
So that-
to 40.
Oh, sweet. And at what point did you decide in your life that I can invest? Was it at like one go, or it took you some time to decide, ki like, let me put 3, then let me put 5, then let me put 2 more, aisa karke?
I try investing about 10 to 20% of what I earn every year in some sort of studio touch up, roughly. So at that time, that was our,
The range, so
Yeah.
that's why you put it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, let's go.
like we keep a budget on the side. Dude, because it brings out more creativity from me also. And I know at the end of the day, my creativity is what's paying the bills.
Yeah.
So-
and it's such a good model for every content creator to replicate, right? Just like put out like a 20% or 30% in like upgradation of yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's how
Yeah.
it's going to matter.
Doing the podcast, I spoke to Saif Ali Khan and I spoke to Gaurav Kapoor. And they both said the same thing, that if you're just earning money and storing most of it, there's no point of that money. And you have to learn to enjoy it. So find the sources of your enjoyment as long as they're not harming you. And that enjoyment could be self-improvement.
And how else do you enjoy apart from that?
Home decor is my big expense every year. I really, really enjoy food, bro. You've seen it. Like we've eaten.
Dude, shut up. Shut up. You don't enjoy food, bullshit. I don't buy this because, you know, at middle of night, like around 2, this guy would post a story of chole ka shake. It's like chickpeas shake and nothing in it. Chickpeas in a mixer grinder. He's grinding also showing, and then he's drinking. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, what the fuck is this?
It used to be way worse, bro. So I'm pure vegetarian, no eggs also. When I used to eat eggs, it used to be egg shakes. Like as in I used to boil eggs, remove the yolk, and then like make egg water out of it. And when I used to eat non-veg, it used to be chicken breast water. As in cook it, cut it up, make a
What
chicken
is
breast.
it obsession? Why?
It's quick protein. So I swing on two ends of the
do you
spectrum.
okay? Tell me, do you like it or do you do it because it's good for body?
I hate it, dude. But
Okay.
but it's so effective and I recommend it to everyone. Okay, so God gave me this ability to chug really fast, and I realized I have that ability when I used to drink, and I used to be the fastest beer chugger in the world.
Okay.
Like very fast. In 3 gulps, I'd finish like a whole glass.
Oh, fuck.
And then once I stopped drinking, I realized, oh, let's apply this in health. So I'll try hitting my protein goals through chugging chicken breast and chugging eggs.
Ah.
Now because I'm like this dharmic vegetarian boy, now I was chugging chole. I put brown rice also into it sometimes.
Kya bhai, kaise? I don't get. So okay, tell quickly tell three things because I love 3 things. Okay, so tell 3 quick protein hacks which people can take. Like we can chug. Chole is one.
Yeah, one is this. Like if you can chug your chole, nothing like it, or chug your chicken, or chug your eggs. Like and trust me, you get used to it. You get used to it after a point. Second protein hack is be open to protein shakes, man. Like I've seen how much of a difference it made
Makes
to
sense.
my physique. Even in terms of like diet, it's actually a practical diet hack, especially for vegetarians. And man, the third thing is are you just asking protein hacks?
Just protein.
Protein hacks.
Because in middle of night, I'm asking for myself. Okay, so in middle of night, I get 2 or 3 when I'm not able to sleep. I feel like I want to eat something, and then 2 eggs ke baad I'm like done. Eggs और नहीं खाते बन रहा. And I'm an vegetarian.
Got it. Dude, I've made my body very used to 2 meals a day or max 3 meals a day. And I stick to that. Like, I'm very religiously into IF since 4-5 years now.
Okay.
And once you do intermittent fasting, you can't get out of it. Your body just doesn't cope with coming out of it. Like you'll feel like going back. Like mentally, like how you'll crave a burger or a pizza, you'll crave putting your body back into IF, and that just helps you eat in a much more functional way.
Oh, that's interesting insight. Because I eat every 2 hours. Like I need it. You saw me eating there, right? Like now I'm hungry already.
Yeah, no, I get it, bro. But IF, it's like once you adopt that lifestyle, it's beautiful.
So you would say chole and like fuck everything else. Try IF because then whatever you drink, it's gonna be.
Like, dude, I saw you eating a big meal there right now. I would just drink that entire meal, you know?
Oh my god! Like what's wrong with you?
Like chewing takes time, dude.
We'll talk about this personality side of you, okay? Because I've noticed something. But before that, we move forward. What's your team structure look like? Because you talked about like I've gotten 5 introverts together, and how much do you spend on them?
You're asking the entire team, like everything?
Like people who help you. Like I'm not talking about Monkey, I'm not talking about Level, I'm not talking about anything else. Just you, the Beer-Biceps brand. I'm not even talking about Big Brain.
So I talk to about 7 or 8 people from across teams. Like I have 4 things that I'm running, and I'm just in touch with 7 or 8 professional contacts.
Okay.
And then they end up talking to the others.
Yeah.
But personally in my team, I have Sanchit, who's sort of my content strategist with me.
Okay.
He's also a filmmaker. He can also think, about like what we can create next. He helps a little bit in writing. I have Akshat, who has edited with me since 5 years now. So editing is like playing in a band together, and you just know, or playing football. Like how I played enough with you, so I know what Raj's tendencies are on the football pitch. Editing works in the same way. Like the longer you work with each other, the better it is. My oldest teammate, which is Rajas, he's been a camera person, he's been an editor, he's been a content strategist. So he does all of it, but he's more centered around actual shooting.
Okay.
I talked to Nachiket, who is sort of like a back-end head. So he's like our mom come dad in the office. He's like a manager, plus he gets all the back-end work done. There's a lot of back-end work at this stage of content creation.
It's like when things are getting posted, when things are getting recorded, edited, shoot. Like
so he's my bridge with the whole business unit. So it could be Viraj from Monkey would send some documents to be signed. Nachiket will make me sit down in the middle of my filmmaking and say, bro, just sign this. He'll look into the whole accounting, finance side of things. If I want to
business management kind of stuff.
Yeah, if I want to invest in home decor, I'll tell him I want this budget. Whatever. I don't look at the money I'm making from my brand deals.
Okay, so Nachiket does that for you.
Viraj is like, you can say, like everyone knows, he's my co-founder, manager, salesperson, all that. My like mental health.
Like he's making sure that every time you're speaking about something, you get paid for it.
There's Manish Bhai, who's like, he's a mentor, again, a little bit of content strategy. You know Manish Bhai, and everyone knows like kind of what his role is. He's also sort of a co-founder on Beer-Biceps now, because he's really helped scale the team. And I talked to Harshil, who's my co-founder on Level. And in Level, we have one more person who's like the CEO. His name's Ayush Anand. So I work on that project through him. And the 9th person would probably be someone called Dipanshu, Eclipse Noah. He runs Big Brain Co. Okay. So when I'm gymming, I'll make him gym with me. Or if I'm going on a jog, I'll jog with him. And we write while we are like in our fitness.
So like your ideas. So these are the people you handle. How much do you, let's say, like how much do you spend on your team?
It's a lot at this stage.
Just on your brand. I'm talking about like how many channels do you run? 3 channels on YouTube?
We run 7 on YouTube. Yeah.
Just Ranveer Allahbadia.
Beer-Biceps, Ranveer Allahbadia, TRS Hindi, then Beer-Biceps Shorts, Ranveer Allahbadia.
And the shorts clips, they'll repurpose content like that.
No, it's its own entity. Okay. And Big Brain Co. 7. But chalo, if you don't know Big Brain Co, then 6.
And 6. So you're running 6 channels, and then you have 6 channels ka Instagram also, then Twitter also, then LinkedIn also, all of that. And so how much do you spend
it's between 10 to 20
on all of this monthly recurring? You pay all of this. And how did you get all of these people? Like how did you build
lots of trial and error? Like over the years we've just figured what pieces we want, and at this stage we only work with experienced people. Like we're done working with freshers because there's a long training phase you have to put freshers through. So I personally won't work with freshers, but Rajas's deputy will work with a fresher. So
they'll train them and try to fit them in your stuff.
Which is why the range is so up and down. Because there'll be a month where we're trying interns across departments. We're trying like a writing intern. We're trying something else, whatever. So the range really bounces.
Is there anything like when you hire people, like when you build your team, is there any certain principles you follow? That,
Yeah.
okay, like these 2 things or 3 things I look forward in this person, this has to be there. Like they can't be subside.
It's very role specific. I prefer working with calm people.
Okay.
Because I myself am a fiery person. I feel that this stage of my life I'm calm, but my inclination is to be fiery.
Okay.
So I like working with quiet, calm people. So it's something I look for. And I'm personally very like result oriented. Like you can't be that person just pitching ideas, you know, you have to actually do it. I don't even want you to draw out like the tasks. I want you to do the tasks and show me. So we look for like we call it kinetic energy principle in office.
I know kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Yes, like it
So-
has to from one end to
Yeah, and maybe 99% of creative professionals are all about potential energy. Oh, this idea will be cool. This will be cool. I look for the ones who do, which is literally like 1%. And this I've learned the hard way. Stop feeding into people's intellect or their creativity. A lot of people are creative, but very few work.
Okay. So, but in middle of this, you talked about like you're a calm person right now and you're very fiery, or maybe you're like your main role is very fiery. I feel like you have 3 different personalities.
Yeah.
I've seen you all, you know, because dude, it's very, very like when I see your content, right? There's like this one guy. He's like running around fashion bhaiya, like ye dekho shirt, ye dekho wo, all that you're doing. All of a sudden, then suddenly you turn into like an intellectual,
Yeah.
business-oriented person who's running his shit down like podcast mein. And then there's a third personality which is like with friends,
Yeah.
like where your like inner child comes out,
Yeah.
like that. Lot of people can see it on your stories as well, but like you have that inner child, like who still wants to have fun, jump around,
Yeah, yeah.
like that kind of kid, right? So
Yeah,
how
yeah.
do you like? Is it like a planned thing?
I bounce off of energies. Like with you, I'll have both the A. Sorry, did I hurt you? Sorry. I'll have the A Raj energy, Raju. I'll have that energy, and then I'll have. If you bring out business in yourself, I'll turn into a business. So I bounce off energies, bro. But
No,
I definitely have
but
different.
that has like different. That gets reflected in content pieces, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how do you manage? Like, why do you do this?
Dude, if I
Is the
don't do
question.
it, I'll go crazy. Like so as a kid, I was diagnosed with something called ADHD, which is
yeah,
like
attention disorder.
yeah, and
That's most of the product and creative guys.
yeah, dude. And they were going to put me on medication and all, but my mom's like, no, F it, I will put him into sports or some shit, and that paid off. Even on the football field, I'm like the guy who runs around, like always. Like I'm all about running because I don't know, dude. Just I have a lot of energy, and if I don't let it manifest like in these 3-4 different personalities, it gets boring for you. Life gets boring.
But why does it, like, my point is, why doesn't it get reflected in different pieces of content? So in vlog, your business side is rarely seen. In your podcast, your vlog side is rarely seen. Like, is it like a well thought or well curated pieces of or ways of content, or is it just you and you want to put out your different sides and different forms?
With content, I always see the content completely in my head before I do it. Very clearly.
With podcasts as well, with everything.
With anything. It could be reels, podcasts, vlogs, even articles. I see them in my head from A to Z before I write them or I do them. And depending on which personality suits that mold best, I choose a personality. Today it'll be you, or today it'll be you man child or whatever. So it's like that, bro. I'm very filmmaking centric, as you know, and I'm very serious about what I put out in terms of I want that end goal to be as beautiful as I've imagined it in my head. So one of those personalities will enhance the beauty of that.
Makes sense. Which makes sense, but doesn't it kill, like, how do you discipline yourself to do certain things? Because let's say, vlog has to go up every week, podcast has to go every week, this has to go every week. And sometimes you just don't feel like doing certain things. So how would you do that? Because I'm asking from the content creator's point of view. Because I've seen a lot of content creators, including me. We have certain phases where I'm like, fuck, like, I'm going to kill this world and like, business here, hungry. And the other day I'm like, just want to have fun, party. Like, I have this different side, which not many people know me for because, of course, of my content. So how do
I keep making content regularly?
Yeah, how do you keep making content regularly with different personalities in it?
Dude, it keeps me motivated like when I switch the personality. It's like, you know how I'm never the guy who'll just order a butter paneer and a naan. I'd order butter paneer, dal, some sabji and the naan. I keep switching things. So as long as I have different things on my plate, it's more fun.
Oh.
That's my answer. But in terms of the discipline, it comes from like martial arts and all as a kid, dude. Like it's very routine based martial arts. Like that whole thing about where Bruce Lee says that I fear not the man who kicks. One second. The quote is, I fear not the man who practices 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who practices one kick 10,000 times.
Yeah.
So the nature of judo, it's like WWE you've seen, right? So WWE, the rules are derived from judo.
Okay.
So there are pinfalls, there is submissions, all that. And those moves are so technical that unless you actually practice them 10,000 times, you won't be able to do it, or you'll injure the guy you're fighting with really bad, which is against the first principle of judo, which is that you don't use it to injure people. Like the word judo means gentle way. So in judo, it's like, I don't know, do you remember Rob Van Dam?
Yeah, I know.
Rob-
Of course, dude. He was one of these one of these fighters who would just jump
Yeah.
around and do stuff, crazy flips.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam also used to do a lot of judo in his.
RVD, yeah.
So it's like you use the other person's weight. You kind of flow the other person. And to be able to. So judo's. Dude, so I'm not a very big guy. But I used to be Bombay champ and I used to beat guys who are like 6'2", 6'3", just out of technique.
Ooh.
Yeah, like because technique is that crucial in judo. And if you have a good teacher and all that. And that changed me as a kid, man. Like, it switched something in my head. And I've seen the same with mostly same Prajakta Kohli. She was a dancer. And dance did the same thing to her that judo did to me. Where when you give a lot of importance to mastering a technique as a kid, it changes who you become as an adult.
It's funny because even I used to do taekwondo.
Yeah.
And
So
I
you-
played till states. Like I won a medal. Like I was gold medal states.
Yeah.
And I did it for like I think till 10th I did it, and then I stopped doing it.
No, but then you kind of know what I mean.
I
Only
know.
martial artists know what exactly
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Dude, there was this one thing, like we used to do, I remember the practices, and there was one thing called kata.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? I thought it made no sense. But they would make us do for 10 years of my life. Like every day, they would make us do that. So I know what you're meaning, like what you mean, because they make you do one thing like again and again and again and again. Like, bas.
Yeah. It's that same ragda. Like, you know, that ragda just changes you as a kid, dude.
हाँ बचपन से करते जा रहे but okay, coming back to the initial question from a perspective of content creator, do you think like people who are creating content, is it better to create different channels in order to show their different personalities, or they can show it once? Like,
It's very subjective, bro. And this is why I feel you can never compare one content creator to another, no matter how similar the content seems on the outside. And I see this with the comedy genre a lot. There's a lot of competition, like an entertainment there. But content is the outcome of years of growing up without creating content and accumulating experiences and learnings. So no matter what you do, you'll always create something unique. Like, say, content creator A will have gone through a certain kind of childhood. Content creator B would have gone through something else. So what was the question? Why am I...
the question was like, how should a content creator show his personalities? Like on different channels or one channel?
Dude, with this job, you have to enjoy it. Like, it's very maddening in the long term. I've done it for 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
This is my 7th year. It's not a job for everybody, and you should only stick to it if you're really enjoying the process. It's a very brutal job. Like,
I know.
and there is a whole filmmaking person inside me that gets a kick out of this job. So in the long term, that's the only way you sustain. So you have, what was the question again? Sorry, I'm too into...
Should you show your different personalities on different channels?
It's completely subjective, bro. It's completely subjective. It's like...
I think you've kind of answered it. It's at the end of the day, it's all about what you enjoy. Like, do you want... Can you switch yourself in different personalities? If you can do it effectively, maybe you show different sides of you in different channels. And if you can't, if you're like really into the game, you do it with one only.
Yeah.
Like, forget about things.
Also, I feel you should ask yourself why you're doing content. Like, lots of people want to do content to get into movies. Lots of people want to do content to make money. Lots of people want to do content to, I don't know, express themselves, bro. Lots of people don't do it seriously, and that's also fine. So have an end goal and then change your game and all according to that.
But what if somebody is like, I'm just in it for because I want to speak. I want to create content.
I think that's the best reason to be in it. Like, just. And then let the game take you where.
Like wherever it takes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like there's no end goal.
Yeah.
Is it okay to be that, or like people need to have like
3-4 years into it, you do. 3-4 years into it, being in that ecosystem.
Because you have a plan for yourself.
I mean, you'll make life easier for yourself, and in this game, you have to plan ahead. You have to plan what content is probably going to be like in the coming year and also next year. So I have these conversations every month with one of those 7-8 core people. What do you wish to do next year? And where do you see me next year? And where do you see us next year? And those are very important conversations for me. And I'm like, since day one, I always planned for the future.
So do you not fear change? Let's say certain things are working for you. And then you feel like, okay, maybe if I change and try to become someone else next year because you're done with this part of you.
So the thing
Would
is,
you change or
at
no?
this stage, again, in year 7, I've reinvented so much that I look forward to changes. And with changes, you always have a dip. But if you
Yeah.
believe enough in the change, there'll be a upward spike.
What was your biggest dip?
When
was it?
COVID happened, uske pehle I was fashion bhaiya. And fashion, grooming, fitness content was very hot. We would get 6 million views in a day from like one video and all. And literally overnight, in 1 week of COVID, people's mentality switched. And no one wanted to know about fashion or grooming and all.
Yeah.
So initially I did some bubblegum content like best movies, best TV shows. But there was a 5-month period where I was just questioning what the F do I like? Why am I saying what the fuck do I what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
PG-13. So I was just in that zone of what the fuck do I do in like these 6 months? And I had like an SOS call with someone who was consulting with us for the channel. Like this guy who works at Josh Talks. He's one of Manish's associates. And I told him, fuck it, maybe I want to get into Hindi podcasts. And we switched, dude. And from getting 6 million views in a day, we got 7,000 and 8,000 views over a month of keeping a podcast on the upload. But eventually we found our feet and it's gradually working itself up. And best decision in retrospect. Because Hindi podcast brought a more mature Hindi side of me. Like my Hindi side was like this.
I know.
It was the side that you know.
Yeah.
In Soho or whenever we chill or in your house. But it was important for a 28, 29-year-old to bring out like
Intellectual
intellect,
conversation
in Hindi.
Yeah, and then that just turned around things for you. And you did it on the same channel?
Yeah, bro.
Oh.
Yeah. So
It's talking about podcasts. I really want to know, like, you did a like Spotify exclusive, like, massive deal because people exclusive deals, biggest of the biggest in the world have done it, and that was a crazy thing which you guys have pulled out, right? Like insane. It's a great thing not only for you but like Indian podcasting community with people you look up to. How much was the deal for? Like
that is on paper confidential, so
Okay.
I can't even give a range. Honestly, like I'll go to jail or some shit. Like if I put that
NDA
out.
is like
Yeah.
But like,
But
no.
it was good. It was good.
How was it? Like, how did you make it happen?
Magic of Raj shit, firstly. And this was like what I said about planning for the future. Like in content, you have to see where you're next year. From our 10th episode onwards, we are targeting this.
Like only the English part is exclusive, not the Hindi part.
Yeah. Because again, dude, for something to go exclusive, it needs to sit on the internet for at least 1.5, 2 years. You have to build its native community of that IP, of that piece. And with Hindi, I didn't know what I'm creating. The flavor is different, dude. Like the flavor on my Hindi is now it's become my spiritual side. That's where that outlet happens.
But why do you see podcast very like a? I think I'll ask 2 questions in the same thing instead of mixing with them. Podcast is like very overdone. Like everybody's doing it, right? Like why did you decide to do podcast then? Like, because it was reinvention of the time. At the time when everybody started creating content, you felt like, okay, let me reinvent and let me put my mature side out and all of that.
I used to listen to both Tim Ferriss and Joe Rogan a lot in college also, and even before I started podcasting myself. Tim Ferriss was my real life MBA, like listening to his show. So it was always there in my head creatively that I have to do this in my creative career.
Okay.
I also feel that now what's happened is that the space has gotten saturated. I have sort of that I don't have a first movers advantage, but I have an early movers advantage. I was one of the early.
At least in India, you have an early movers advantage.
Dude, and I've seen the challenges and hurdles with long-term podcasting. There's a lot of reinvention required for the host. Like whatever the host is going through in his own or her own life, that has to change also. Like a lot of reading, a lot of like different perspectives.
Yeah.
That's how you sustain in the long term. And I only see like 5 to 10 podcasts totally in the country, which will really be mainstream. And the game, again, it's even more brutal than content creation because it's a more difficult game. Like you don't have that big numbers, firstly. Secondly, how do you keep that same smart community hooked? Even comedy podcasts have a smarter audience that consumes them versus someone who just consumes comedy video. So to keep a smart community hooked is very difficult.
And how do you do that?
Lot of reinvention, lot of self-challenging when it comes to intellect. Like and like everyday question that where am I plateauing? Like in what department of my head I'm plateauing? So at this stage of my life, dude, I've never really been into current affairs, but I'm having to wake up to it.
I think so. That's what I feel. Okay, that's where the podcast needs to be, in terms of at least where my podcast needs to be. That it should reach a point where we're sitting with someone, let's say you and me, and we just start talking, and that becomes a podcast.
Dude, I agree with you, and that's the hope and dream. But over time, I've realized that because of the short content wave in the world and change in behavioral patterns, I don't think that's going to happen to either of us.
Yeah,
I hope it does. Like, and I hope and pray it does.
But I have a different approach to it. I don't feel that the short content, or I would say I think the attention span is reducing. I don't feel that attention span is reducing. I feel the ability to judge content is getting quicker.
Dude,
people would still watch like 8-hour long Netflix series. It's just the way, how can you hook them up for the long time? Like, you have to figure out a way, like, how can you hook them up? Because see, in US, when you look at states, right, they have more communities, more niche apps, more short content. In fact, TikTok is relevant there way more than what we have in India. Still, like, Joe Rogan has like 11 million views, average daily viewer in a quarter. Like, why is that happening? Because people are shifted from like mainstream TV to this particular side of
Dude, US has its own culture of radio shows, and they drive and walk a lot there. These two things are way more than India. Also,
driving and walking is...
Yeah, driving, walking. They do a lot of their chores themselves. We have like help in the house to do it for us. House help. It's a big cultural difference which people don't account for. Plus, we've seen over time that pieces which were guaranteed hits for us, and we were able to predict it like a bow and arrow. You know that this is going to work, has just stopped working. Oh. And we've broken it down repeatedly in the team. For sure, attention spans have reduced. For sure. Content that worked 3 years ago, 4 years ago, just doesn't.
And so what will work now? Like, what do you think works today?
Very fast edits. Like, it's the age of the editors now.
Yeah. Like, I've seen this on my Instagram specifically, to be honest. I feel like I used to prepare the content and then give a hook in the end. Now I have to give a hook in the beginning in order to hook them up till the end.
Yeah. That's one of the things, bro. See, maybe I'm coming from a filmmaking perspective where I give that much. Like, I'm an editor in my heart.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm saying like fast edits. But it's a formula we applied on the vlogs, and it worked like magic for us. So for me, my content is my A/B testing for how culture is developing, and I take cultural learnings and put them in my startups.
Okay. Can you give an example? This is a very good insight, I think.
So content is like a very intense college for your sort of higher education. You can say it teaches you a lot. 1, about yourself. 2, about how culture is evolving. 3, about like product. Like, what is product? Which is been a learning off of level. Like, we've designed a tech product over like a year, and I'm the guy who's, I won't say heading UI, but I have a huge role to play in how UI will look, in what actual features will be there in the app. All that's product. How does it interact with a real world person? Tomorrow, if I give you my app, how will Raj look at it? How will Raj feel when he's using it? I would not have been able to do this if I didn't put myself through 5 years of putting out content. And editing sort of teaches you the same, because at its core, editing is psychology. You're playing with someone's head. So going deep into people's heads through your edits and seeing which videos do well versus which don't, versus which are the ones that get a lot of engagement early on but don't get any views. That means you've made a mistake with your packaging and title. So you also learn a bit of sales there. So content is a very good way, staying in content for like 4 5 years, seeing how culture evolves, because culture changes every year. And strongly I feel that like short content has changed the whole game of how content is consumed. These learnings, one, can help you sort of predict what's going to happen in 2023 and 24 in content. But more importantly, from a money perspective, you take these learnings and you put them into product. You put them into sales. Across the 4 startups that I do, a big role I have as a co-founder is I conduct workshops where I impart filmmaking, where I impart social media, where I impart sales, where I impart probably even how culture is changing. And it's very useful for those teams, as long as those people are proactive.
Yeah. So you're like more of a trainer inside there.
Yeah. And motivator.